And today we're going to talk about wealth, and that's important because some of us have certain beliefs about wealth and we do it every day. So before we get started, as usual, we want a really good why, a why that captures us, a why that really captures us and, gets us hooked. So question, how many hours a week are you doing stuff that you don't enjoy? How many hours a week do you spend maybe a little bit worried, maybe thinking about, your purpose in life, maybe thinking about, how am I going to make the rent? Maybe, am I in the right job or do I need to change something? Could be 10 minutes here, 10 minutes there. It could be half an hour there, half an hour there. But how many hours a week do you spend wondering, perhaps worrying about those things? Now, what's your hourly rate? Not as a coach getting, beautiful dollars, although you could use that. Okay, so that's your rough hourly rate, and you know how many hours per week you're spending in the job and how many hours a week you spend worrying. So let's add up. Add up how many hours a week in the work or doing things that aren't satisfying and how many hours a week worrying. Times that by 52 weeks in a year, and you are doing fantastic. Please keep doing those mathematics. So we're calculating how many hours a year we end up doing stuff we don't like or worrying. How much per year? How much is that for 10 years? Great news, if you're not a mathematician, for 10 years, you just have to add an extra zero to it. Okay, now if you like to, you might have a big number in front of you, and that's how much time you spend unnecessarily. And if you want to multiply that by the hourly rate, if you want to multiply that by your hourly rate, you might have a bit of an idea on the financial costs associated with not being rich. With not being rich. And yes, I say that bluntly. Rich to different people have different meanings. But I want you to be aware of those numbers. And most of you guys are coaches, so you know that that kind of stuff can be motivating. That can be a strong away from motivation. So we can use a strong away from motivation to start the session and start the ball rolling. Now, it might not feel comfortable, and honestly, I hope it doesn't, because it shouldn't. Now, let's use that motivation to light up the room like a torch, or light up the room like a flashlight, and see if there are some things in the room, in the mental room, that's slowing us down. See, by digging into some of the pain around how many hours, your brain now is more open to catch any kind of breakthrough that comes. Makes sense, right? We've got to prime the brain. We've got to pre-frame. So we're going to pre-frame that we're going to have valuable content, but that whole exercise about writing down the hours pre-frames your brain or opens up the loops to grab a hold of information. Neurological levels, or this much understanding. We have our identity, and underneath our identity, who we are, we have our values, and we have our beliefs. So we have our identity. Hi, I'm Adrian, blah, 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 blah. You know, or, hi, I'm Matthew, I'm so-and-so. We all have our identity. And my identity, I have a value for wealth and health like everyone does. So I value my health, I value my wealth, I value my family, I value my time, and so do all of us. But we value them in various degrees. And tonight we can look at being rich as a value or being wealthy. Now, if being rich feels bad, that's like let's get the torch in there. If being wealthy or rich or any of that feels bad, we want to get the torch in there and have a bit of a look. And one way I look at rich, and I'm really comfortable with the word rich. I wasn't before. So the way I consider rich is like rich dark is like dark chocolate. It's like this rich is like, for me, rich is like kind of like pure. I had to change my definition. But guess what? It's up to you to choose your own definition. It's up to you to choose your own definition. Sometimes I also write in there successful. I look at the value success and I look at the belief system around success. And then I might look at the I might look at the value of being healthy and look at the belief system around that. So you can pick wealthy, you can pick feeling rich, you could pick feeling successful. And we're going to be looking for all the beliefs around it. And ideally, I think we want to find beliefs that support us and push us forward to creating more. So to get the results and the actions and the results, we need to change our beliefs. We need to change up here to change down there. We need to make sure we changing our belief system is the most important thing. We need to update our belief system, and we can. There is no age limit to it. I have some beliefs for you. Okay, I create my life. Okay, so I create my life on a scale of 1 to 10, 10 being completely believe. 10 being completely believe, 1 being no. Maybe 5 is like, I create my life. 1 to 10. Okay, secondly, life happens to me. Life happens to me. I play the game of money to win. In the game of money, I play to win. Now, for me, it's a 10. For me, winning means I have and my community has. So my definition of winning, I updated some time ago. By me winning in money, I can give more away. And the thing is, the next one, I play the game of money not to lose. I play the game of money not to lose. I'm committed to being rich. I am committed to being rich. I think big. I focus on opportunities. I focus on opportunities. I admire other rich and successful people. I admire other rich and successful people. I associate with positive, successful people. I am willing to promote myself and my value. I am bigger than my problems. As in, my problems are smaller than me. I'm bigger than my problems. The very first question I have in this kind of psychometric tool is, rich people believe I create my life. Poor people believe life happens to me. So people that believe strongly that I create my life, that tends to be a belief that leads us more to creating it. Rich people play the game of money to win. Poor people play the game of money not to lose. So the not to lose is more of a poorer belief. Rich people think bigger picture. We covered this in a lot of our training. Those that think bigger picture tend to earn more. Those that think smaller picture seem to work on smaller pitches. Let's say you can help 10 people, great. But what if you could help 10 presidents? That's a much bigger picture. So we might want to chunk up and take on bigger pitches. Focusing on opportunities brings more abundance. It's pretty obvious. So the more we focus on opportunities, the more likely we are to create wealth. Rich people, successful people tend to admire other rich and successful people. So when we see people that are really successful, it is cool to admire them. It's totally fine to admire them. I suggest admiring them and maybe even saying, hey, that's really cool, well done. It's a rather poor belief to resent rich or resent successful. If we resent successful people, what does that say about ourselves? Australia, we've got a thing called tall poppy syndrome. Okay, next belief along, I asked about associating with positive, successful people. Are we associating with positive, successful people? I hope the more we can, the better. But you'll also find that whenever you find millionaires, particularly multimillionaires, they're scarce straight up. They're like less than 3-4% of the population, so they're scarce. And out of those 3-4% of the population, I'm talking financially successful. Okay, so out of the population, the 3 or 4% that manage to make the multi-millions, right? There are a limited part, and how many of them are actually like, friendly and approachable and whatnot? You're looking at a smaller number. They also know that they've got to be scarce with their time, and maybe it's because they're scarce with their time and they're giving it to their family and their business. Yeah. So it can be hard finding and hanging out with these people that are, have high levels of success. They can be hard. A lot of people, when it comes to mentors, coaches and stuff, they pay good money to have that kind of association with the positive, successful people. I had on my Facebook some of our training, and I had some friends from high school, trying to come in and trying to meet me and stuff. And some of them, I saw some of their pictures on social media. Some of them had the cops in the background, one was on a fishing boat and the police were going through their boat, and I'm like, I don't really want to spend time with some of those people. Yet there's another friend who may join one of our future trainings. He will hopefully come on our training, and when he does, you'll understand. Absolutely wonderful person. It's just the intellectual background of their family is rather low. So he has successful mindset coming up, but his whole family's been really holding him back. So I go and spend time with him and say, come on, come out of there and come into our training. We'll look after you. So you can still hang out with negative or unsuccessful people, but what are you doing with them? Are you going out to hang out with them to feel good? There's an unwritten law here about the law of comparison. We know everything by comparing. You know what's here 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 by comparing. You're comparing what's here and what's not here. So we're constantly comparing. When we compare ourselves to people that have done more than us, we may feel smaller. If we spend a lot of time to people below us, we may feel bigger. Yeah? Hang out with a pile of dwarfs, you'll feel tall. Hang out with a pile of NBA players, you'll feel short. I noticed a couple of people that run one of the local churches. I constantly see them with people from their church. And I know a couple of these priest pastors, they have like multiple, have like 12 properties around town. And I was always seeing them with some of the lower socioeconomic. And I kept seeing it. I kept seeing it. And I was wondering, why aren't they hanging out with people that live up the hill instead of at the bottom of the hill? And I remember I spent months traveling with priests around East Timor, Afghanistan, and the Philippines. And I was wondering about that law of comparison. It's a lot more comfortable hanging out with people that are less successful than us and uncomfortable hanging out with people that are more successful. Where does the growth happen? In the comfort zone or out of the comfort zone? Boom! You made it here! Good on you. Make sure you click the subscribe button below and check out the playlist at the end. If you'd like to come along to our Sunday sessions where we host a live, free Q&A for our students and members, you're welcome. I'll see you there.